Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I decided, since we're in the middle of this SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, that it might be a good idea for, especially for those of you that haven't been around, to go back and show you some videos where different people from politics, government, as well as from Ripple and other people in blockchain weighed in on this whole issue of XRP as a security or other digital assets as a security or different things around this topic. And I think a lot of these will be eye-opening for you. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to probably do a series out of this, do maybe 2 to 4 videos around this. There's so much good in video from the last couple of years on this. So here we go. We're going to start with this one. This is where Congressman Tom Emmer weighs in on this.
In denominated in XRP, but appreciate all you're doing here.
Brad, thank you so much. It's funny. You said we've moved on past Silk Road. Yeah, it's a long time ago, but there's a lot of members of Congress that still think of this in terms of Silk Road. Yeah. And when you say over 2 years, first off, my position's very clear. XRP is not a security, all right? But even if you want to do this, you want to have this discussion, the SEC, my frustration, as you probably have heard very directly, you brought up in a very nice way. Maybe you should be doing this job and I should be doing that one, because I'm not going to be so nice. Over 2 years is not only a problem, it is absolutely unacceptable. Because what this does is entrepreneurs like you and everybody else on this town hall, you start looking elsewhere. Money will go where it's easiest to flow. And the more the government puts in obstacles, and one of them is just inaction, the less opportunity we have to position the U.S. as the leader. And it's an obstacle to growth. So we're going to keep working. Really appreciate all your support. And together, we're going to keep educating these members of Congress. And as we're doing this, and you guys are saying I'm going to make a donation, forgive me, Perry Ann, because I know we are short on time. Again, do you know how powerful this is for some elected officials to look over and say,
okay, so that's the first clip I wanted to show you. And then there was this one. This is J.P. Tirrett from Uphold. And this is worth showing you because when the history books are written, Uphold should be one of the heroes in this whole thing. But this is when he explained how he was going to keep, he was not going to delist XRP.
That's part of it. And that's the part of it that I think is the one with teeth. The rest of it, you know, is XRP today a security? I think very, you know, clearly it is not. And so something that I think you yourself, Greg, brought up in the past, the mission statement of the SEC or high ranking in that multifaceted mission statement is consumer protection. And if you are going to seek to disgorge 1.34 billion that may have been, you know, achieved or sold, violating again some of those concepts of asymmetrical information and selective disclosure, the question is, you know, how much damage are you going to cause to consumers in that pursuit? And I think in this case, the answer has been, you know, a significant amount. It's hard to measure, of course, but obviously it's created a crisis for Ripple and for XRP. Predictably, exchanges like Coinbase, who has to think about the fact that it's going public, although Coinbase has never been a big fan of Ripple's to begin with, but with the, you know, additional complication of also being about to go public, that was writing on the wall. So for us, until the complaint is adjudicated against Ripple, specifically citing that XRP is a security today, which would be the part that would affect our business, we are continuing to support. And I think every legal mind that we have interaction with, and I'd like to think we've chosen lawyers well. One of our lawyers is, in fact, the ex-head of the SEC's New York office. All of them feel that it's fairly clear that XRP is not a security today.
Okay, that's good stuff. Now here's another clip. This is from an interview that Brad Garlinghouse did back, I guess this is January 21, 2020, or it may have been earlier.
This is what he said. There will continue to be systems that rely on central actors whose efforts are a key to the success of the enterprise. Doesn't that sound a lot like Ripple and XRP?
I think it sounds a lot like the ICO market. I think, these ICOs are issuing tokens. They haven't even released any code. There's no working code, and there's no open source community developing that code. And so they're releasing tokens, and those are effectively what I think the SEC is saying. They've really said for a year now. They're just getting a little more aggressive about it. They're saying these are securities. I think it's really clear that XRP is not a security. And I'll give you three key arguments here. One is, if Ripple, the company, shut down tomorrow, the XRP ledger would continue to operate. It's open source, decentralized technology that exists independent of Ripple. The second is, if you buy XRP, like if people buy an XRP, they don't think they're buying shares of Ripple.
That's true. Okay, here's the next one. This one's Jay Clayton himself from the Cryptic Poet. Listen to this.
And I think that goes to my second question of whether and to what extent is the continued discussions, in particular among your agencies, as it relates to what is and is not a security, and if you go broader than that, crypto asset taxonomy, has the focus on those issues in particular really prevented you from addressing other potentially less controversial developments in the blockchain and digital asset space, such as for instance, tokenized versions of traditional regulated financial instruments? And I'll just start, Jay. I'll start with you, and then Brian, if I want to go as well.
Yeah, sure. And it's a very good question, Jackson, because you read about the problems. But we've got a lot of people working on areas that aren't problematic, areas where we're bringing this technology to bear. And also, I think you can characterize a number of our recent discussions that we've had with the OCC as, okay, and where can we be clear that it's not a securities law issue? That's a lot of what Brian and I, and thanks to our great staffs, have been talking about over the past few months. And how do we in the payment area, the maturation in the payment area, how do we make it clear to people that if you're not trying to finance your network, you're not trying to give people a return on your network, it's probably not a security. But if what you're trying to do is finance the build out of your network with your token, or provide people with a return for using the network with your token, you look at the traditional test of security, it's pretty clear it's a security. And we're working to make it clear where those lines are so people can mature the payment system. I don't know, Brian, is that a fair way to describe our relationship?
Okay, and then we have this one. This is from Ripple Swell 2019. And this is a Michael Didick, an 8-year-long former SEC employee. Listen to what he says.
So maybe a fun question. From each of your perspectives, do you think XRP is a security? And if you had to guess, what would you think the SEC would say?
Start with our SEC expert, Mike.
I don't think XRP is a security. I think XRP is a currency, and the reason why is when you think about the test that was laid out by the Supreme Court in 1946 in the SEC v. Howey, which is, you probably all heard of the Howey test. It's a 4-factor test: investment of money in a common enterprise with the expectation of profits based on the efforts of others. And you have to satisfy all 4 prongs. So if one of those prongs is not there, you're not a security. So with XRP, Ripple could go away and XRP would still exist. And so there's no efforts of others in my mind.
Anyone?
Okay, and let's see what we have next. This guy is Jeffrey Tucker. He's American Institute for Economic Research, and he was on Bloomberg 2019.
One of the biggest questions for Ripple holders is whether or not it's going to be classified as a security, right? This is pretty highly debated here. So where do you stand on that? Because, the SEC wants to call everything a security that they don't understand.
I know. Yeah, no, you said it exactly. So here's the problem. These old categories actually don't pertain to these new technologies, which are really ownership over rights to a protocol. It's not the same thing as a security. It's not a security. It's just not. And what we're trying to do is reclassify these modern, super modern 21st century technologies and old 20th century categories. It doesn't actually make any sense. And why are we doing this? Just so we can make the regulations, save the regulations and save the regulators and save the bureaucrats so they can control it. But none of it makes any sense. The reason why it's taken so long for these decisions to be made is that they don't qualify as traditional securities. There's something new entirely. I think, in the end, Washington bureaucracies are going to have to get used to the fact that we live in a progressing world where we have new kinds of things. We've learned that private money is possible. We've learned that payment systems and money can be wedded together into the same technology. That was never true even 15 years ago. So we're going to have some movement here on the part of the politicians and the bureaucrats to realize a new reality has dawned, and it was dawned in January of 2009 when we first saw that Bitcoin could actually work.
I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that if they want to see SEC security videos having to do with XRP, then I'm putting out the series, and this was the first one. Thank you for listening.